it's nonsense. So like what I think that we have like eternal energy, body, like souls, if you will, right? Yeah. And like think of it like this TV. So this TV exists, and that's like the hardware.
Yeah.
And then whatever's playing on it is the software. I think you are like a software that's playing in this body. Like your body's picking up a frequency, if you will, that plays you. And your essence is this eternal thing that's probably experienced innumerable amounts of things and innumerable amounts of reality, and it's probably seen things that you couldn't possibly imagine. But when you come here, you have no memory, right? You come here like there's an episode of Rick and Morty. Have you ever seen that show?
Yeah, I love Rick and Morty.
Do you remember the episode where they go to Blips and Chits?
Yeah.
Do you remember Roy?
Fucking one of the best.
That's what the
ever.
fuck this is, bro.
Yeah,
that's what this is. That's it. So when you come
Unlike
out,
you, Marty, I
like,
never go back to the carpet store.
You have your memories and you have your story that you've like not created, but you've experienced as you've been here, which has molded your thought process here based on amnesia, basically.
Yeah.
I think when you get out of this shit, you have a collective memory that comes back to you, and you remember so much more than you could possibly remember here. I don't think that we're all fresh. I don't think we're all a clean slate.
Do you think like strands, like I'm connected to something and I'm just going, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that? Okay.
Imagine you were an infinitely eternal being and you were the only thing that existed and there was nothing but you.
Yeah.
And you were like, dude, like, well,
Everything
this is boring after a while.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so what would you do? You would create experiences.
More. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So imagine you cloned yourself 5 times, right? Like, so you're Billy, you're you, this Billy, this one that I'm talking to right now with your experience, your personality type. Now imagine there was 5 of you that were created at the same time. And one you was the you that had your life that created the persona that you have now.
Yeah.
And the other you you were in an Asian family with completely different principles and different ways of looking at things. And then there was another you, the same exact person that was born in a different society with different understanding, like different at a different time frame in history, if you will.
Yeah.
And you have that experience, blah, blah, blah. And then there's like this, like, so like, here's the main you. And then here's the 5 clones.
Yeah.
And the 5 clones have tethers back to the main you. So when that clone or whatever lives its life, its experience gets downloaded into the whole.
Yeah.
Right. And then when you die, you come back to the whole. So I'm just saying, like you are not necessarily you. You're a culmination of your experiences and your life's journey and your belief systems and your environmental programming as of now, today, in this time frame.
So I'm a piece of the ultimate.
That's it.
Coming together.
Thank
right?
you. I'm sorry if I'm like saying this badly, but you get what I'm saying.
Believe me, dude, I did not come in tonight with like, you've been killing it. Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's what I think.
Yeah.
And I think that like when people do psychedelics, for instance, or they have a near death experience, I think that the veneer basically gets like pierced.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing like more of what's really going on, more or less. I think that's what it really is. And that's why I'm not married to science and intellectualism and all that crap. Yeah. There's so much intuitive stuff going on that people can't explain. And there's so much more to reality that's really like right in front of our faces. I think most people understand that at this point in time. It's bullshit.
And I do appreciate the experiences, because if I was this ultimate being and I could just create more and more and more and more, I would put pain. I would put grief, I would put loss, I would put love, I would put happiness, I put everything in there, because
knowing that at the end of it, that not only are you going to be okay, but it's going to make you better and be interesting and like actually feed you in some way.
Yeah.
Like all of our concerns and our worries come from the idea that this is it.
Yeah.
And that when it's over, and we don't know what happens when we die, and that the end. I don't think there's an end. If you knew for an absolute certitude that there was no end and that what I was saying was actually true, would you be nervous about living this life?
I think, see, you're going to get fucking, all right, here's the thing. Here, you
Tell
want
me.
me to go?
Yeah.
Right. I think that I don't hear a lot of people thinking that when the end's the end. I think that when the end's the end, I think people a lot of the time think that, like you said before, like, I was put here and there's some type of afterlife and, I get my own heaven and I get this and I get that. I don't know if, we're going to, like what goes up there, like the soul, or do we look like us, or are we just floating around? People have a lot of different things on it, but I think it's one of those, I think it's a lot of energy.
You think that this complex, nuanced, crazy reality exists and then nothing else?
That nothing else is running.
So when you leave here, you're just floating around confused.
No, I think
all this intelligence that's here exists.
I think you break down. I think your body goes. I think your energy.
I think your body
there.
is a container.
Yeah,
that's what I think it is. That's it. And I think that your consciousness is your energy signature. And I think just like, so people don't understand like radio waves and like, like whatever.
Yeah. I got you.
frequencies, if you will.
Yeah.
So like this TV. So there's like channel 32, channel 27, blah, blah, blah. Depending on what channel I tune into is the program that I get to watch. And they could be remarkably different, if you will.
Yeah.
And they all exist over time and space at the exact same time. But you only see on the screen the one that you're tuned into. So is this real? Yes. Is other things real? Yes. Are there other realities? Yes. Yes. Why not? Why not? Why this one and nothing else? Like why? It's actually more logical to think the way that I'm talking than it is to think that there's nothing else and that this is it. I think that we're like kind of lost in that way. It's simple.
Well, all right. When they tell you that, like when you're a bad person, right? And for some reason you never
bad person to who?
No. But well, that's what we're getting at. Like society's definition of a bad person. You're a child rapist. Like there's not too many ways to chalk it up where that's ever going to be okay, right? All right, you're a bad person. You're a child rapist, right? They tell you you live like that and you go to hell, right? And then it's just this kind of like over exaggerated, like lake of fire, pits, demons poking at you. It sounds like something that you do. Like that'd be fear-based.
It's fear-based.
Yeah, right. And
That's
then
right.
heaven would be, would be the treat. Oh, you heaven's so amazing. You get to do this. You get to do that. Well, that's where it starts playing with souls. Like I'm just saying, like is there a punishment or not afterwards? Are you?
I don't believe so. No.
If there's multiple realities, like, do you move on to the next one? What about the child rapist? Is he going to be doing the same thing when he moves forward? Do you know what I'm saying?
Let's say you lived 1,000 lives. And in one of those 1,000 lives, you were abused and fucked up and, harmed, if you will. And you became mentally fractured and you became twisted and you ended up doing quote unquote evil things because of the trauma that you experienced.
Yeah.
And that's one of your 1,000 lives.
Yeah.
Is it bad? Are you bad? Are you bad? Or is it just one of your 1,000 life experiences that you've had?
That life would be bad. Yeah.
And should it be paid for in some way?
Well, again, I mean, are we going heaven and hell, or are we going on? To
I don't think that there's.
realities?
I don't think that there is heaven and hell.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we agree on that. You know what I mean? All right.
And then people get scared of that idea, like, well, if there's no consequences, then people could just do whatever they want, and then they're going to do horrible things.
People do whatever they want.
But I'm saying that, like, no, I'm saying that if people knew the truth and understood the nature of reality, they would be inclined to do good things because we're all made from the source material that is God, which is the permeation of love, if you will. Yeah. And it's just that we don't remember that we deviate from that and we go astray from that, if you will. Yeah. It's just all evil and all bad, as we like to call it, if you will, comes from ignorance and confusion and nothing else. No one is completely clear-headed and understands exactly what's going on and has no emotional trauma and decides to do bad things. Yeah. And that's why I don't think that God judges anyone in that way. I think that he gives us clues and lessons as to how to come into what's the word I'm looking for? When you get dialed in. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Absolve the wrong
not absolved feeling? Like to come in alignment to come in alignment with nature and that which is. And I think that we deviate from that and we experience those things to show us why it's right and good to do that, and then we ultimately end up choosing that through our bad and horrible experiences and through our pain. So like all those lives that you live where you did horrible shit, or even this one, if you will, when you realize why it was bad and why it was wrong, you're going to choose the light. And it says right in the Bible that like you have free will and you have to choose. Yeah. It's not something that's going to be ever forced upon you. And you don't choose something because someone told you to or because you were told that it's the right thing. You choose it because you believe it. Yeah. And you only believe it via experience. Yeah. So depending on who you are and what you need to experience to come to that ultimate conclusion, that's what you fucking need. Yeah. And I think that there's old souls and young souls. I think some of us have done this a lot of times. Yeah. And that's why there's people that have like weird like intuition or intelligence or abilities. And I think that there's people that like live until they're 90 years old and they seem childish, right? I think there's old souls and young souls. Yeah. I don't think there's any right and wrong. I just think that there's an infinite amount of tiers of existence that goes on forever. And it always changes and it always evolves and it never stays stagnant. It never stays the same. And I think that this is one of many realms. Okay. I think that there's an infinity.
Creator, like you said.
The creator is that which is. It exists. Yeah, I think that God is just consciousness. And I think that consciousness created other forms of expression.
It's a big system that you're just following.
It's expression. Along, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. That's it. I think that the only goal of human existence outside of like learning and like getting to know, which by the way, God is basically yourself more or less. It's just another expression of the. If there's only one material, like if I cut down a tree and there's a log and I make a chair and a table and a bench, which one is the tree? Yeah. All of them. Yeah. but they're completely different expressions of that same base material.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I don't think there is a right and wrong. I think everyone plays their role. I think everyone does their part. I think we all experience everything at some point or another. That's what I actually think. So I'm just saying, like, we got to be careful with all this shit of trying to, like, make things and manifest things. I think that we should be humbled and we should learn how to listen and use our intuition and follow our hearts. I think the most important thing that a human being can do, which will generate, like, all of your, like, you know, whatever, prosperity, if you will, is to be an authentic expression of yourself. I think that's what God honors, is authenticity and nothing else. Yeah. That's what I think.
And you don't think sometimes... you don't think people would be very, very terrified if let's say it is just a one and done and you got to do everything you can in this one go around, and that doesn't seem very fair, does it? Right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
What I'm saying.
So I'm saying what I'm saying makes more sense. Does that seem right to you?
No.
If my dumbass primate mind can go, that's fucked up, that isn't right.
Yeah.
This makes way more sense, doesn't it?
It depends on your belief system. I think that if you are given this beautiful gift of
life,
you
think God
and
creates
you squander it
and puts you here.
No, I don't think God.
I'm saying. Let me just go through this. So, like, you get created and you get born. You're put on this planet, and you don't choose your parents or your circumstances or whatever the fuck is happening around you, and you just end up getting all kinds of fucked up against your will, and then you go through life dealing with that, confused, trying to work it out. You think God's going, "What a piece of shit." I made him confused. I made him knowing nothing. I made him susceptible to all these things. I understand how this game works because I created it this way, but I'm going to judge you for it, even though I set it up this way. I don't believe that. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, like,
don't believe it. Would you do that?
Lots of factors, like okay, what if you're retarded and you beat somebody to death? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different things that.
Yes. What if?
Yeah.
What if indeed?
Yeah.
You think God goes, he shouldn't have done that, even though he had no choice? Clearly, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it was these two people and how their DNA lined up, and for some reason there was some type of chance.
There's a myriad of factors.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Think about as you go through your day, you have like emotional states, right?
Yeah.
And you have moods.
Yeah.
And your moods fluctuate and change throughout your day.
Yeah.
People have a really bad habit of doing what I call snapshot thinking, of like I'm this.
Yeah.
Dude, throughout my day, I'm like 20 different people. Sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm sad. Yeah. Sometimes I'm a combination of multiple. Usually I'm a combination of multiple emotions. Some have a higher weighted average than others. Sometimes I'm more angry than sad, more happy than not, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing.
The default setting, who you are as a person, then things get higher and lower, and then I got you. Okay.
And so now you're revolving through all these different emotional and mental states, right? Based on your emotions and things like that. And at any point in time, a situation can occur and catch you in any one of these variety of emotional places and circumstances, right? And that's completely random.
Yeah.
So depending on when that comes and hits you, your behavior changes dramatically.
Yeah.
And you're saying that God's going to hold you accountable for that, even though you don't know how to control it. He never told you how or equipped you to do so. But if you don't do it right, you're going to fucking hell. That's dumb. It's fucking dumb. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I think it's all learning.
You do believe a God, right, or a creator? Or
I believe,
like that, right?
Yes, yes, but not in the traditional sense that people think.
Yeah, and you were saying earlier,
I call it that which is.
Right. Yeah, and so there has to be an opposite, right? So is there somebody that's taking any bad, or nobody's bad?
Do you have two sides to yourself?
Sure, everybody does.
Why wouldn't that be a reflection?
Well,
are they right and wrong?
It could be. Depends on the choices you make. You know what I mean? Isn't that anything? That's anybody. I could choose to be broke and work through the hard times and get the rent money, or I could choose to go fucking knock off an old lady. You get what I mean?
Yes, but you're doing that very base. All right, so you could choose to be broke, or you could choose to knock off an old lady, right?
Yeah.
So if you're born in the 1950s, say 60s and 70s, when the economy was a lot better than it is now, and it was a lot easier. You just had to get a job and just go to that job every day. And not only did you have enough money to pay for yourself, you could also provide for your family, take vacations, have retirement, and that was guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So in that time frame, there's a lot more of population that's going to choose that route than chooses to knock off an old lady.
Yeah.
But now in this society where the game is so fucked up and so rigged, and we all know that it's abysmal, and almost no matter what you do, you're going to stay broke because the deck is stacked against you, and things are just way harder than they were. Think about your like boomers. That generation had it the easiest of any other generation on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
And you don't think that's going to like affect your character and your decision making throughout time? So it's just a matter of environments that you're in. Yeah. So why would God judge you for one or the other? It's not the same in this one that it is in this one.
But it's still the same situation. It's just circumstantial. So again,
no, it's not the same situation.
Why wouldn't it be?
Because one of them it's easier to accomplish X, and one of them it's not. So that affects people.
Okay, it's 1970s and you're in the South Bronx and you're just as broke and you're a little black kid, right? And now you have the same decision to see your family on the street. And it was hard then. Same time in history.
I got you on this, by the way. Go ahead.
Okay, same time in history. And now you're left with those two choices again, or you know, a myriad of other choices that you could choose from, whether they be good or bad. And honestly, I think it's left up to desperation or what you're willing to do.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that like the environment that is the overall environment that we're in now creates more desperation than one that existed in the past. So take that same black kid that's in the Bronx and disenfranchised, and he ends up doing whatever X, Y, and Z in the same time frame. And then take him out of the Bronx and have him born into a well-to-do family that has a good head on their shoulders. Yeah. Different person entirely.
Sure.
So now the overall environment creates more of the other kid because of the circumstances than it does that kid. Right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of like, oh, you just make decisions and it's all up to you and all that crap. It's not only a matter of that, man.
Yeah.
Things matter. Like what happens to you matters. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And we've seen plenty of examples.
But I don't think God's looking down like you should have done just as good as you would have done over here, you piece of shit. Yeah. I don't see that. That doesn't register with me. Doesn't resonate. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey man, listen.
What's your belief system? Real quick, last one.
I think it's dealt with. Mine's solely circumstantial. Who your parents are and where you're born and what you do, and you take what you got and you do the best, and you know, and fucking it's a luck system, man. Either you're born into something really good and things go really easy for you, or you're born and you have this beautiful voice and you can sing, or you have an eye for art and you can go down there and do something.
Or you got nothing.
Like that, or you got nothing. And that's it. And I think it's very cold. I think people, that would scare a lot of people to think that they don't matter as much as they feel they do, because we all inside of ourselves, it's like, man, it's like you matter to a lot of people right now, your family and everything like that, and you have those raw emotions coming through you, right? But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're just these little specks of dust, right? I mean, if a meteor hits tomorrow, I mean, the people on the other side of the world are just gonna, you know, like tsunamis happen all the time in Japan. I don't know any of those people. They've been now washed out. So now, and listen,
but is a speck of dust any more or less important than a mountain?
Yeah.
Why?
You can climb a mountain.
So if you take that speck of dust and then reverse time a million years, I guarantee you that speck of dust was part of a mountain, connected to a mountain, which is a mountain. Yeah. So like the best way I could explain it is something, I'll get into that another time. Yeah. But basically, think of a tree. So you have a tree that has the roots in the fucking ground, right? And then it goes up and there's branches and there's leaves on the tree. Yeah. And then that's a tree, right? It's one whole tree. Yeah. And that tree is great. And then one of the leaves from the tree falls off and hits the ground. Is the leaf the tree?
Sure. It's a part of it, right? No.
So it's only significant if it's attached to the entire tree, not on its own. It's not still just as important as it was before.
Is it
so because it became a speck of dust after hundreds of thousands of years of water hitting the side of the fucking mountain or whatever and breaking it down, and now it's dust? It's still the same mountain that it was before. It's just broken down into parts. Well, everything is one thing is what I'm saying. Yeah. Nothing is more or less important than anything else because it all comes from one base place. At one point, we were all the mountain.
Yeah. Well, the stump's more important than one of the leaves, right?
Why?
I mean, well, it's the foundation. It's the roots that holds things together, that brings up.
But the leaves come down and they decay and they enrich the soil, and the soil grows our food.
Yeah. I do think
so. Without the stump, you don't have the leaves, and without the leaves, you don't have the soil, and without the soil, you don't have the food.
Yeah.
Without the rain, you don't have the stump. Which one's more important? I'm saying that it's all the same thing.
I think that as individuals that, and again, the ones that are willing to go out and do it, like, see, I'm telling you, I don't mean to sound so cold and disconnected.
I just want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
I'm not judging. We're just exchanging recipes.
I don't mean to sound so cold and disconnected. I just think that for some reason, every time I hear somebody's theory on the afterlife, it's always about, what they're going to do going forward, or what they did in the past, or how their God's going to judge them here and this God's going to judge them there. I don't like any of the fear stuff, but we agreed on that. And I just think that you've been given a gift. Sometimes it's a curse. Like, I mean, goddamn, if you're born and you're a product of incest in fucking India, and your life is laying on
Gypsy Rose, baby.
Dude, yeah. Well, how about them kids, the kids that the brothers and sisters they marry? These kids are born deaf, blind, and dumb, and they lay them on little carpets in that sweltering fucking heat, right? What experience are you going to get that's going to make you move forward? That's not even pain that you can like judge. It's just pain, an entire life of pain. You know what I mean? I think that those are the unfortunate ones. But I think when they pass, the energy gets out there, and who knows? Maybe the next time, whatever their energy goes goes into.
But I don't think your
baby.
Consciousness ever ceases.
But to me, that explains the population and how it grows and becomes more. And maybe it's just a lot of our energies coming together and making these babies and bringing it up, and the food women eat, and the men that they go and they drink their water when they're, and that's part of the energy as well. And then now you create life, and it's all part of that. The women, they say, right, whatever goes in through their umbilical cord and these babies are eaten, you know what I mean? Again, energy,
Yes.
So I think that's more so like, and I think life could be a very beautiful gift, or I think it'd be a horrible curse. And I think that scares the shit out of people when it could just be that cut and dry. But there's no example of, how come there's just never an example of, God talking back? Or something like that.
See, that I've actually personally experienced that. It's just not in words. It's always like when you have conversations with, like, whatever, the spirit realm, if you want to call it that, God, whatever. There's other entities as well. It's always telepathic.
Yeah.
It's like you're having an actual dialogue and an actual conversation, but you're not hearing it out loud with ears. You're hearing it inside yourself, but you're having a real dialogue. Yeah. You can talk to God. Absolutely, you can. Yeah. You absolutely can. You can talk to anything if you know how to dial into it, more or less. So, like, we think that communication means language, means to speak out loud. But meanwhile, like, whenever, like, think about, like, aliens, right? Whenever people talk about aliens, it's like, oh, they spoke telepathically, like they pushed it into my mind and all that crap. Yeah. So, like, communication isn't just our ability to use air to create our vocal cords to make a sound that you register in your ears. There's way more forms of communication that exist than just that. That's just the one that we're most familiar with. Yeah. Think about even like body language is another form of communication, right?
Absolutely. You can tell a whole story based by
there's a million ways to communicate. So if all of reality is sentient and is conscious and is all based, from the same source material, how many forms of communication exist that we're just not privy to? So think about it like this, like, we as the human creature, if you will, we have sentience above all other creatures' domain on this planet, right? Like we have rationality, logic, reason, blah, blah, blah. We have way more robust life experience than whatever a hippopotamus does, as far as we are aware anyways, right? Or like a dog. A dog only sees black and white, but we see the whole spectrum of color according to our eyes. But there's actually way more colors and way more forms of light that our eyes don't detect because our equipment does not allow us to. Yeah. So think about the limitations of the equipment that you're running on and how much more reality exists that we're not able to even pick up. Yeah. Just like a dog can't see that this is fucking purple and black and that's fucking green and that's blue. You see what I'm saying? Like we know that, but the dog doesn't. So who's to say that
limited to his
abilities. So the dog's limited and then we have a higher limitation, but we're not. You think that we see it all? You think an eagle could see from 1,000 miles in the air down to the ground a grub worm? We can't do that shit. Yeah. So how much are we actually limited? How much of reality exists that we cannot tell or see? Even a baby, when there's a baby in the room, all this is all the nuance, all the you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
they said the energies, right?
Dude,
yeah,
all
I
that
heard
exists,
yeah.
all that exists, whatever. But that baby's sitting there in the crib and confused and has no fucking idea what's going on until its consciousness develops and enhances and enhances and enhances. So who's to say that our consciousness doesn't keep enhancing and keep growing and we don't keep seeing more and more and more? Who knows where this is going?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different belief systems out there. You could be like him, you could be like me, you could be like the church, but never be like that piece of shit.
I was wondering what the pause was. That's hilarious.
Sorry, I thought I was gonna roll
Use
in
the
there.
effect, bro. There's a lag.
Shit, I was sure it was gonna go just a little.
Are you playing a whole song?
No, God, no. Fuck up, Bill. Dude, I think it does play the whole song. But dude, I was looking for one that could like kind of like be relevant. Whoa, hey, somebody up! I'm second it well.
Do you want to cut this?
Dude, I think we did great.
Yeah,
I think we did fantastic.
Do you want the effect?
Yeah, but wait, can I say something before the effect?
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, I appreciate the talk tonight. I think you got me really straightened out. If there's anything that you know what I mean, and man, what we did come in here and do. Come on, baby.
Dude, thank you, by the way. Thanks for showing up and putting the work in, man. I appreciate that shit.
Absolutely.
So we're going forward, guys. We're going to keep doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was, a little esoteric, a little bit wild, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Right? Ready?
Oh, effect. Bring us out with it, too.
That being said, always remember, have your conversations, not their conversations. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your community. Until next time, let's be good people again. God bless and peace. Caw.
That adds a lot of character to that.
It's funny,
doesn't it? Yeah. Good. And we killed a lot.